Hey guys, it's Chala from Crafting Through the Chaos of Life. Thanks so much for joining me. Today's video is for Scrap and Stamp Canada. I have the challenge word Advent, and so this is my take on that word. This video is a little bittersweet for me because I have had to make the hard decision of stepping away off the design team with Scrap and Stamp Canada. I am so thankful for this group of ladies that I've had the privilege of working with over the past several years. They truly inspire me, and I'm going to miss them greatly. So for my final card with Scrap and Stamp, I thought that I'd kind of step it up a notch and show you my two favorite things, journal making and card making, and combine them kind of together. So let's get started and I'll show you how I made this advent calendar card. To get started on our little booklet, we're going to want to use some cardstock or either some heavier weight scrapbook paper. For my cover, I had my cover cut down to 10 and an eighth by 6. You want your cover just to be about this is actually 10 and an eighth. So you want your cover just to be a smidgen bigger than your normal pages, because once you stack these pages inside, it's going to bulk out and then they end up meeting kind of perfectly on the edges, just because they bulk out through the center. I hope that makes sense. So our cover is going to be the 10 and 1/8, and then the inside pieces measure 10 by 6. So 10 and 1/8 by 6, and then the inserts are 10 by 6. So I've cut one cover and then 1, 2, 3 of the insert pieces. And this front to back will give us enough for our 12 days of Christmas. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do is bind the book. I want to decorate everything first before binding it together. I just find that a little bit easier to do. So let's get started with our cover. I am just using some cardstock that I have on hand from, it's a Recollections brand. You can use whatever cardstock you like, but this is just kind of what I'm using. This is a piece from that, and I want to trim this down. So our card cover, or our booklet covers, measure like 5 and an 1/8 by 6. So we want about 5 by 5 and 7/8, about that for this. So I'm just going to bring in my trimmer, and actually no, I'm not. I want to use my tear ruler, I think, if I can find it. I like the kind of rough edges that the tear ruler uses, and then I want to ink up the edges just to do a little bit of distressing, just to kind of give it a bit of a nice kind of vintagey look. I wanted a vintage type theme. Again, you don't have to go vintage. You can do more whimsical and like Santa and that sort of thing for yours. This is just kind of what I want for mine. So I'm going to do 5 inches. I'm going to mark this here, I think, with my pencil. This sheet is so big and my work area is a little bit messy right now. So I'm just going to take my pencil and a little mark here, a little mark here. That way I can pull it closer to me. I know that it's not all on frame. I'm sorry, I can't get it all in, but these pencil lines just kind of line it up, and then we'll tear towards us. Okay, I'll set that aside. And then we want by 6 inches. So lining this up on my Tim Holtz glass mat grid. Oh, we're not by 6, we want to go a little bit less. So about 5 and 7/8, in and around there. But I also need to thinking on the go here. I just need to also rip down the straight edge bit as well. Just gonna take a smidgen. Ugh, now I'm tearing crooked. It's okay. And then a little bit off this side, and then I'll do my measuring. Forgot that I want rough edges all the way around. So just take a little strip. These tear rulers are so much fun. They're from We Are Memory Keepers, and you get a set of 3. And I really enjoy working with them. Okay, so we'll trim it down about here. Okay, and then that gives us, make sure I'm grabbing our right cover piece. And I didn't measure that correctly. I'm not exactly sure why, but we'll take a little bit more off the edge. I'd rather have a little bit too much to work with than not enough, I guess. And then yes, that will fit nicely on here, and then we'll have our little 12 Days of Christmas printable on the top. Again, you can use whatever you like. You can use pieces from your scrapbook paper. This is just off of Pinterest, I believe I got this from. Just use whatever works well for you for your focal image. I just really like this, so I decided to print it out. All right, as always, I like to do a little bit of distress inking. And I think I want to keep kind of with the vintage feel. You can use any color of distress ink to ink up the edges. I just like the look of the vintage photo. You can use walnut stain, you can use blue, red, whatever you like. I'm just gonna stick with my tried and true vintage photo. So I'll ink up the edges of this wreath. I just fussy cut it out. You can use your brother scan and cut too, or if you have a silhouette machine to cut these out. Those machines are handy. This one was just quick for me to fussy cut out. I might be mass making a few more of these, so I may use my cut machine to do the rest of them, but for my first one here that I'm making, I just cut it out by hand. I think these are little booklet cards. Are kind of a unique card to give, and then we'll have a little surprise inside as well. So just ink this up. I think this is going to go to, we're doing a thing at work where we're going to send seniors Christmas cards. So I think what I'm going to do is make this for that. I think that would be fun for a senior to receive. It's really still quite hard for them if they're living in senior complexes and they're kind of, you know, distance from their families. So it's hard. So I'm just going to use my glue stick to glue this on. Use whatever glue you like. You can use our glitter glue. I think the glue stick will be fine. You can use a Tombow mono glue. That would work as well. Okay. Line this up somewhat centered. There we go. Get rid of my glue page. Go, and of course need to ink up the edges of the card base itself, because that's the way I roll. Again, if you have any corners lifting, I like to use the art glitter glue for the corners, just to hold them down a bit better. Usually the glue stick holds just fine though. Put that on there. Okay. Now, oh, I was inking. That's what I was doing. Let's finish inking this up. Again, I just really like the vintagey feel. I love vintage Christmas stuff. I just think it's, yeah, just kind of warm and cozy, and it reminds me of, I guess, my childhood. Okay, so we've got that down, and then the next thing we want to do is glue down our focal point. So let's go ahead and do that. Put back my glue page. And then let's adhere that down. Again, trying to get it centered. That's kind of the goal. There we go. So there's our cover for that. And you know what? I'm just thinking there is a product that I want to use just to zhuzh this up a bit. So give me 1 second. I'm going to grab that. I have this picket fence paper glaze in Golden Rose. I thought adding some of this around the edge of this would look super cute. Oh my goodness, you guys, you know what I did? I glued it on upside down. Ah. Well, that's not what I wanted. Guess I should have been paying attention. That's okay. I think we can salvage this. All is not lost. Hang tight with me. We can fix this. Okay. Crisis averted. So this happens. This happens sometimes. We forget which direction we put our card down. Okay. That's fine. We're going to use art glitter glue on this now, definitely, to hold this down. Just because we have some warping now. Oh my goodness, you guys. I'm so glad I caught that early. That would have made me incredibly sad had I gone through the whole process of making this, only to find out at the end that my cover was upside down. Ugh. I know I'm not the only one that this happens to. I've seen other people make the same mistake. So that's fine. Okay. Glue this over top of where we ripped it up. No one will be the wiser. Just going to use my card just to smooth this down. A little bit more art glitter glue here. A little piece hanging out. There we go. Okay, I'm going to squirt some underneath there. There we go. Crisis averted. Okay, back to the exciting paper rose, or sorry, picket fence paper glaze in Golden Rose. Is that it? Golden Rose. Okay, so I am just going to use some that's been on the lid. It's dried a little bit. I should probably put a piece of wax paper or something over top of that. That might be too dry. Let's dip into the container here. And I am just going to use my finger and brush some of this on. Kind of going over top of the distress ink a little bit that we did, but that's okay. Give it some little bit of gold texture on the side. I think that would look nice. Now my fingers are going to be all covered in gold. I feel like a James Bond movie, gold finger. All right. So I've got a little rogue up top there, but that's okay. Again, it adds to the interest of the card. And okay, I'm going to use my little wipe here, and we'll just clean this up, and then we can get started on the other pieces. So look at that. I think that looks so pretty. I might just come in a little bit with this distress ink again. Just a little bit. There, I think that looks super cute. So let's set that aside to dry and quickly clean up my work surface. Okay, to work on the next part of our little booklet, I want to be using these little dies from Lawn Fawn. And these are, what are they called? They have a specific name. They're like little, do I have the name on the bottom here? Like lift flaps. Yeah, lift the flap. That's what they're called. Lift the flap dies. So I'm going to be using these for my little kind of advent portion of this card. So what I'm going to do, it's a little bit wet here. So the next thing you want to do is pick out your next papers to kind of adorn each page. I like to do it this way as opposed to like have a, what am I trying to say? I like to have a firmer base for the card because it's going to be lift the flap. So that's why I went the cardstock route. But for our pages, what we're going to do is figure out the numbers. So again, I have some printables off of Etsy and stuff. So this is kind of the 12 Days of Christmas. This one is as well, kind of a more vintagey look. And then I'm just going to grab one more that's on my printer. And I like these ones as well. I just thought they were so pretty. So we'll see what we can do with these and how we want to decorate up each page. So each page is really up to you how you want to decorate. I want to save the big one for last. You can use it throughout, but I'm specifically going to save the big one for the last page. So then we have these other ones that we can work with. So basically what you're going to do is, I'm just going to kind of demonstrate on this one. So you're going to measure out your cardstock, whatever kind of theme you like. And then before you glue it down, you're going to tape on your, with some purple tape, which I have here. You're going to tape on wherever you want your little lift the flap to be. And then once you get that sorted out, then you got to figure out what you want underneath the flap. So you can use anything. You can use little die cuts. You can use, what else do I have? Some of these images off of the internet. Check out the ephemera bits on the Scrap and Stamp store. Those would also be fun to go figure out what you want underneath. And then what you're basically going to do is run this piece through your die cut machine. And then you can figure out where your image is to glue down and then glue this over top. So I'm going to work on this first page a little bit off screen, and then I'll come back and show you how that looks. Okay, I'm back. I have my first little page completed. And so this one is on the first day of Christmas. Again, I used the middle lift the flap rectangle. If you don't have these dies, you can do partial die cutting with whatever dies you have. So you can use circles, you can use squares, rectangles. The key thing is just to remember not to cut straight through. So when you are die cutting, you want to have your die cutting plate, say this is a, let's use this one, a rectangle full die cut. Then in order to get that partial die cut to create the window, you're going to place your plate just up to the edge, so it's not going to cut here. It's going to cut everything underneath the plate over here, but nothing here. So then you can score down with a score buddy, score down, and then you have that little flap that you can lift. So definitely take a look at the dies that you have if you don't have these little guys on hand, although these are super handy, you guys. I use them quite often. I think they're a fun element to add to a card. So here we have our first page. I did add a little bit of lace underneath the little on the first day of Christmas sign there, and then when you open it up, you have your partridge in a pear tree. I think that is super fun. So basically that's what you're going to do for each of your 12 pages. Now I'm going to put number 2 on this side and doing the same thing. So you're just going to take whatever a cardstock piece that you want. So again, we're just going to use this as an example. So it's going to be whatever your cover element is. And then you're going to die cut the little flap from this piece first. You're going to run that through your die cut machine. Then you're going to figure out your elements. So say we want this little element to be what's poking through the window. So just making sure that whatever die you're using, it's going to be big enough to show that element inside. Again, you can have them this way, you can have them this way, you can have them folding down. So play with it. So I am actually going to go ahead and finish off this booklet, and then I will come back and show you the finished product. Okay, I am back with the finished little card booklet here. So let's go ahead and flip through it and show you what I've done. So again, with the front of the booklet, I did a little digital print and backed it with some scrapbook paper, and then I added some of this picket fence paper glaze in a golden rose to the edges, as well as some distress inking on it. Then I added, I did the back as well, so I've gone ahead and put a piece of ribbon underneath the back border, just so that we can secure our little booklet together. We'll go ahead and untie this, and we'll open it up. And then here I have some coffee dyed graph paper where I just did some simple stamping of some Christmas images, and then this is where you can write your message to the recipient. Then we have on the first day of Christmas, I've got some lace with some scrapbook paper, and again I have used these Lawn Fawn dies here, and again they are called Lift the Flap. So these little Lift the Flap dies are perfect for this Advent calendar booklet. Again, the digital here I just got from the internet. You can definitely use whatever numbers or whatever you have on hand. And then on the inside, when you lift the flap, I don't want to lift it too much just because I don't want to crease this. But in there you have that little image in a pear tree. So number 1 in a pear tree. I thought that went really well with the scrapbook paper. This paper I thought was beautiful enough. It didn't need too much decorating on it. Then the second page, so again we did the same thing. Again, whatever panel you're using, you want to make sure that you die cut out your little flap first and then adhere it down. So then we have here, I just have some music book page just to set off on the second day of Christmas. And then I have a little vintage Christmas tree just adorning the little flap. And then when you open it up, it says 2 turtle doves. Okay. Going through the same thing on the third day of Christmas. This time I used the bigger flap and then added a little vintage clip art there. I thought the 3 people was really cute with that. And then 3 French hens. Again, just backing some music paper on the back of that. Fourth day of Christmas. This time I have the flap folding down, and I tried to line it up with this little saying on the paper, the best time of the year. Again, I have, this says on the 4th day of Christmas, and I just have some lace backing that. We have our 5th day of Christmas, backed with some burlap. I love this snowflake paper, and I thought this little vintage snowman looked cute. And then again, you open the flap, and behind there is 5 golden rings. And I have the some just paper backing that little image there. Again, you can make these images larger or smaller. It's just I wanted them to be kind of the same size throughout and make sure that they fit in the smallest little die that we have. So I'm usually just using the smallest and the middle die. I was going to use the biggest one for the end, but I switched that up and I'll show you what I did in a minute here. So again, the 6th day of Christmas, again, just set that off with some lace. This beautiful scrapbook paper. Again, use whatever paper you have. You can use digitals, you can whatever you have that you like. I know 6x6 paper pads would work great for this. We all have a ton of scrapbook paper, so pull that out and use it up. And then the 6th day of Christmas is 6 geese a laying. 7th day of Christmas, and again I tried to line it up with this little stocking. And then 7 swans a swimming. Hopefully you can see that. Then we have the 8th day of Christmas, and then again lining it up with this little poinsettia, and then 8 maids milking. So you could put whatever you want behind these flaps. In fact, Lawn Fawn has a lot of great little stamp people that you can use. So this one is the tiny gingerbread. We have the tiny Christmas. This is another one. This is the Oh Snap. We also have this holiday helpers set. You can definitely stamp these little images underneath the flaps as well. You don't have to use digitals. I just decided to use digitals in this case. But definitely take a look at the stamps that you have as well, because those could be a lot of fun to play with underneath the flaps as well. Okay, so we've got the 9th day of Christmas, and then we have 9 ladies dancing. 10th day of Christmas, again, just embellishing with some ribbons and whatever I have. This one we have 10 lords of leaping. Those are leaping lords. On the 11th day of Christmas, we have 11 pipers piping. See that there? And then the 12th day of Christmas, what I did for this one is I thought it would be cool to pull out this old set that I have. And what is this? This is I believe this is the Magic Slider die set. And I have just kind of tweaked it. I'm not using it as a magic slider, but I am using it as a slider component to reveal a little fun detail inside. So I have used this little tab pull, this piece here, the tracks we used. Then we have the folding piece, and then this piece here I die cut from some red cardstock, and then again use that small little lift the flap here. So we have our 12th day of Christmas, and underneath this little flap we have 12 drummers drumming, but then we also have this little surprise where you pull up this little magic slider bit. It reveals a fun gift card. So I just thought it would be fun to put a Starbucks gift card in here, but you can use whatever you want for that. And then on the back I found the 12 Days of Christmas, just kind of a vintagey looking printable, really, that has the words to the 12 Days of Christmas, and I thought that finished this little card booklet off nicely. So this is my take on the word Advent. How I secured this all together is I did a 3-hole pamphlet stitch in this. If you want to take a look at some of my journal making videos, I show how to do the pamphlet stitch. Otherwise, you definitely can just look it up on the internet on how to do a pamphlet stitch for this, and this is just secured with some gold twine that I had sewn in there just to sew the pages together. So I hope that you are inspired by my take on the Advent Random Acts of Kindness Challenge word. I thought this was a lot of fun. I think this is a super unique gift to give to someone. I like that you can use it as a card, but it's also like a little gift in itself. So yeah, definitely think outside the box with your dies on how you can use them to create Advent calendars. Take a look at your stamps. I'm sure you've got lots of things to choose from in there. Thanks again for joining me. I love you guys so much, and take care of yourselves. P.S. I love you. Hey guys, I would love to do a snail mail swap with you. So go ahead, check out my address there. Send me some of your creations. I'd love to feature them on my YouTube channel, and I'd love to send you a little something back. Let's spread the crafty love with each other. And if you haven't done so already, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell, give me a thumbs up if you like my videos. Even better, send me a comment. I'd love to know what you have to say. Thanks again, guys, and P.S. I love you.